Here are my power forwards, 1 through 10, ranked across 8 categories. Number 1, who else? Anthony Davis. It's all about Anthony Davis right now. The Brow, last year 20 and 10 with over 2 blocks. Okay, the last guy to do that at as young of an age as Anthony Davis, his name is Shaquille O'Neal, is going to the Hall of Fame one day. Davis is making shots off the dribble. He is hitting jump shots. He's becoming a leader with all the gold that he has won. The sky is the limit for Anthony Davis. Yes, even better than Kevin Love, who slots in very nicely at number 2. Love goes to Cleveland. So we have yet to see how the switch is going to change his numbers, going from the Wolves, where he did everything all the time, to Cleveland, where he's got LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, and many other solid players to share with and work with. But the bottom line is this: he's a tenacious rebounder. That's not going to change. He bangs threes. That's not going to change. And from that power forward position, when you got a guy hitting 1+ threes, it makes all the difference in the world. Number 3 on my power forward list was number 3 in MVP voting a year ago, Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin should probably be a late first round, early second round pick, and we're basing this across 8 categories. The free throw percentage still needs work. The jump shot still needs work. But that 20, 10, and 5 line, and the steals obviously could raise, the blocks could raise, but Blake Griffin is a sensational player. He's fun to watch, and he will help you win in fantasy hoops. Number 4 is LaMarcus Aldridge of the Blazers. Not only is he playing for the competitiveness of it all, winning a division perhaps, making the playoffs, going far in the playoffs, but LaMarcus Aldridge is shooting for money this year, y'all. He has said coming up in the summer of 2015, it works out for him best, that is when he wants to sign an extension for Portland. There's going to be no slippage in his game. He is as solid a pick as you can get, probably late second round, early third round on LA. Number 5 is Serge Ibaka. Now, based on last year, there are guys with better overall numbers, but gimme the blocks. You can't win in fantasy basketball without threes, blocks, and steals. I call it fantasy gold. And Serge Ibaka doesn't really steal and hits a few threes, but he blocks the heck out of the ball. That's what makes him special. That's what has him in at number 5, ahead of guys like Millsap, Dirk Nowitzki, and Thaddeus Young, who had better overall numbers a year ago. In at number 6 is Paul Millsap of the Atlanta Hawks. We talked about Aldridge kind of playing for money this year. Millsap is the same thing. Enters the final year of his deal. He is a bargain at about $9 million per, and he's going to be a bargain in your fantasy league when you get him in the 5th or 6th round, because people are sleeping on him like they always do. Dude was 18 and 8 last year, hit a ton of threes. Believe it or not, he's not just a hard hat power forward. He is a stretch 4. Utilize him in fantasy hoops. And at number 7, Dirk Nowitzki of the Mavericks. Now, I'm a little bit worried that Dirk's 21.7 PPG number from last year comes down. They got Monte, they got Chandler, they got Felton, they got Jameer. They have all these guys, and I think Dirk will still hover around 20. I just don't know if it's going to be all the way up there at 22. I would be targeting Dirk Nowitzki as a bargain in the 3rd or 4th round. If somebody wants to make Dirk a second-round pick, I say let him do it. Number 8 is Thaddeus Young of the Timberwolves. That's right. He was included in that big trade with Kevin Love and Andrew Wiggins and all that kind of stuff. He's going to play the power forward position in Minnesota, and they want to get up and run up and down the court and just play a wide open game with lots of possessions. And what else? Lots of stats. Thaddeus Young totally took off statistically last year, and I see that carrying over with the Timberwolves. He is going to fall lower than he should and be a huge bargain in just about every fantasy basketball league. Number 9 is Pau Gasol of the Chicago Bulls. Believe it or not, guys, last year in LA, he had a good year, about 17 and 10, about a block and a half. He's going to Chicago now. Not on, the worst team in the history of the franchise and all that nonsense that LA had last year. He's on the Bulls, who are in it to win a championship. I see very similar numbers last year. Pau's going to play around 30 to 32 minutes, just like Noah, just like Taj. And I can tell you this right now. People are going to think Pau is done. They're going to think he's been put out to pasture. You prove them wrong by taking Pau in the mid-rounds of your fantasy league. You're going to be smiling all year. And finally, at number 10, rounding out our power forward list, Tim Duncan. Guys and girls, I've been paying the fantasy bills off of Duncan for years, but especially the last 2. Everybody thinks, oh, he's getting closer to retirement. This is the year that Duncan falls off the table and stinks. I've been hanging in there with him. 2 years ago, he was like 17 and 10 with 2+ blocks. Last year, he was 15 15 and 10 with almost 2 blocks, and I see roughly those numbers once again. Trust me, you are going to steal Tim Duncan in the 6th or 7th round of your draft, and you're going to be paying the fantasy bills with him all season long.